get us going and... Okay, good morning, everyone. That's great, thank you. The Redevelopment Agency meeting, April 4th, 2018 is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed, posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded, as well as presented live on KCLV Cable Channel 2 and are closed captioned for hearing impaired viewers. Please note customers of Century Link and Cox Communication may view this program in high definition on channel 1002. The council meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, may be viewed on the internet, www.kclv.tv/live. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2, the web, the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m., also on Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 5 p.m. This building is protected by state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler systems. If alarms should activate during today's meeting, please evacuate using the exits at the back of the chambers out to the mezzanine. Proceed out the double doors to the terrace, down the back staircase. For anyone who has difficulty with stairs, please check with a marshal or fire official for assistance. Once outside, assemble on the northeast corner across the street from City Hall at Lewis and First. Employees wearing safety vests or city marshals will inform you when it's safe to re-enter the building. For public comment related items on the agenda, citizen participation, and public hearing items, we do have available a speaker card which you may complete and submit to our city clerk up front. Cards are available online, the clerk's office, at the rear of the chambers. If you do not submit a card, it does not prevent you from speaking under public comment, citizen participation, or specified public hearing items. If anyone's present today who has need for hearing impaired equipment, please see our city clerk staff. And if you parked across the street in the parking garage, please be sure to have your ticket validated by our security officers when exiting. We will now move on to agenda item 3. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. The amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. All comments made will be cross-referenced to those specific items. If anyone submitted a speaker card who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda, please come to the podium and state your name for the record. Good morning. We will set the time at 1 minute. This is going to be the most succinct you will ever be in your coming years here with us.
Luckily, I won't have to be under a time constraint once I get in office. Cedric Career, 1931 Mill Circle, Councilman-elect for Ward 5. I will be quick. I had an opportunity to go over the redevelopment agenda. Item 4, obviously this greatly impacts Ward 5, and I was hoping that we could obey this item and until I have an opportunity to really understand a little bit better. There's a number of questions that I have. And understand, I'm not opposed to the project, nor am I trying to be an impediment to the advancement of the project. I know that a lot of hard work has gone into this. We've gotten to a certain point. I just think that it's important for something of this large amount for the councilman to come in and have an opportunity to fully understand where we are with this. And it potentially could greatly affect the citizens of Ward 5. That's it. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Talk to you later.
Look forward to the 18th. Okay, anyone else? Public comment? The rush to the microphone is over. No, I hadn't. And so we will move on to agenda item 4, discussion for possible action regarding the approval of a term sheet between the Redevelopment Agency and International Market Centers, Inc., IMC, for development of an exposition trade show event and Convention Center project at 445 South Grand Central Parkway, utilizing the tax increment financing incentive in the amount of $30 million, net present value spread over the life of the RDA through, I'm not going to be alive, 2046, that's a long way out there, via RDA Special Revenue Fund, Redevelopment Area 1. This is in Ward 5, which is technically still vacant. And good morning.
Good morning.
This is so exciting. We've been waiting so long. Please.
Good morning, Mayor Goodman and City Council, and as Redevelopment Agency Board. For the record, Bill Arndt, Director, Economic and Urban Development. With me today is Bob Maricich, CEO of international market centers, and I'd like to turn it over to Bob to outline the project that's proposed before you today. So with that, I'm introducing Bob.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So, an overview of what I think is an incredibly exciting project for downtown Las Vegas. It's incredibly exciting for World Market Center and IMC. Just briefly, I think you all are familiar with IMC, but we are the world's largest operator of permanent shows for the furniture, gift, and home decor industries. And when I say permanent showrooms, I'm talking about tenants who are in long-term leases, 3 to 5 years, and they're primarily in those showrooms, and they spend a lot of money upfitting those showrooms for the markets that we conduct. So twice a year in High Point, North Carolina, in April and October, and twice a year here in Las Vegas in the end of January and the end of July. We have these massive Super Bowl-sized events that bring buyers and sellers together. They're not consumer events. We do have a daily open portion of the business, the Las Vegas Design Center, and that's open during the week and daily for primarily professional interior designers' use with their customers. The 2 markets per year, as you can see, our footprint in High Point is very different than the footprint here in Las Vegas. This is literally a world-class campus, purpose-built for exactly what we do. You would have to go to probably a location in China to see something very similar. In Europe, there's really nothing that's comparable to what we're doing here in Las Vegas with a purpose-built 5.5 million square foot campus. High Point is spread out. The market in High Point's 106 years old. It's been there primarily doing what we do here in Las Vegas the last 10 years, but as I said, for 106 years. We attract about 100,000 out-of-town participants, and these would be both people managing the showrooms and monitoring for sale and buyers coming in. In High Point, it's a bigger event primarily because it's just been in existence a lot longer, and they attract 150,000 people to the markets. There is a trade show element of our business, and that is conducted in the pavilions, the tent structure. The trade show portion are basically people that buy booths for just the market. They're not in long-term leases, long-term commitments. They tend to be small entrepreneurial businesses, and they are, in fact, an incubator as these companies mature and are successful. It's an incubator for permanent tenants for our permanent market. And you really can't have a market like we have without having a trade show space or facility. This is just a recap of kind of where we are. As you're all aware, the permits for the use of the pavilions expire in 2019. We've petitioned for that to be extended 3 years without any contingencies, and obviously that would allow us to build this exposition center. So the plan would be to use those pavilions during the construction time frame, and then once we're up and running with the exposition center, we would tear down the pavilions and make a very, very attractive permanent parking area there. Hopefully over time we won't need the whole area for parking, and we can do some additional development on that land, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Part of the bargain, I guess, for the city is that for the $30 million of tax incremental financing, you would have a state-of-the-art, world-class convention, exposition, trade show facility right across the Grand Central Parkway from where there's other development planned right now. And we would manage this, other than our 2 events, basically to fill it up with very high quality trade shows. It's not a replacement for Cashman. because Cashman first is much smaller, but Cashman really was attracting lower quality shows and meetings and things like that. Part of our agreement, which you'll see on the term sheet, is that in cooperation with the RDA, we would set aside a number of days for community use that the city could best determine what might be most productive from a charitable standpoint or from an educational standpoint, et cetera. So we're open to whatever, that would be best for the city. The design is expected to be consistent with our existing campus. By the way, we've begun the design process. We're 3 to 4 weeks into it, and we're right now looking at about 270,000 square feet of exhibition space, 20,000 square feet of meeting rooms and office space, and then there's pre-function, there's a banquet kitchen, registration, restrooms, and traffic marshaling. We're saying a gross area of 350,000 square feet. We'd really like to maximize the roughly 8 acres are there. So any way we can build it larger than that, we would do that. We have engaged EV&A, a local architectural firm, who worked with Jurdy on the original development. So he's got kind of tribal knowledge as to how to connect with mechanicals and the dock and ingress and egress and all of that. He's engaged as a consultant, or we have as part of that process, Fentress Company, F-E-N-T-R-E-S-S. Fentress has designed and built over 25 convention centers. They designed the Denver airport, but the convention centers they've developed are like in Pasadena, the Colorado Convention Center, the recent expansion of the San Diego Convention Center, the new Miami Beach Convention Center. So they are the experts that we need to design this thing properly. We're very close and likely could do today to sign a contract for the construction management. And I expect that likely these footage allocations, et cetera, will change as we get through the design process. Just in the context of what exists with the city now, as you can see with the closing of the Cashman Center, there's about 106,000 square feet total in downtown, the largest being about 30,000 square feet. So this is a major infrastructure and a positive addition to the downtown area that should be a great beneficiary to the lodging community, the gaming community, and the food and beverage industry. The overall site plan, I think you've seen this before. The proposed exposition center would include the ground floor of our garage. One of the things we can do is if you've seen the budgeted figure, I believe, of $76 million, is we can be very efficient in that cost structure because we're joining up with the garage that already was pre-designed on the back area for dockage and move in and move out. We have a roadway that connects Symphony Park to Bonneville, and we can load in and out very efficiently into all of our buildings. Also, on the Bonneville side, the new I-15 exit will dump right into basically that same road. So, and then Building 3, the Building C was designed so the end wall facing north was removable. So we can tap in and use the garage for one side, Building C for the other, and it makes the construction very efficient. We also are designing the building so that on the left half, we can develop 100,000 square foot floors up above it for permanent showroom space. We've been very successful in our leasing efforts. We believe we'll be out of capacity or occupancy within the next couple years. And so we actually, with this footprint, it would allow another 1 million square feet of building for our permanent showroom space on top of the convention center. Very quickly, this is a very rough schematic. I would guess at the end of the day, it's not going to look like this, but anytime within the next 2 to 4 weeks, we should have a better view from the architects. But it would have 50-foot ceilings, so from the exterior, it's going to appear 3 stories tall, and it will encompass as the bulk of that 8 acres, except for the management of a bus terminal, a transportation terminal, and then on the other side facing Symphony Park, right now we're thinking about that's the taxi, Uber, Lyft element of the component. There is just simply showing it with potential signage opportunities, whether they could be digital or whatever to promote events, and just another view of how you would get into the transportation management. There's a schematic that lays out preliminarily where restrooms are, where the production kitchen would be, the docks in the back, all of those sort of things. Again, I think that this is pretty fungible, that over the next couple of weeks we'll nail this down and we'll get the exact square footage. It won't be any smaller than the 350,000 square feet. It's in our best interest to make it as big as we can. So that's part of the process. This just is a level 2, which shows it's open, the entire 50 feet to the roof deck, and there's a mezzanine area right now planned where we could have a meeting space. Our programming, we think, first of all, we're putting together a team that would go out to solicit trade shows. As soon as this is approved and we can go do that, we will start booking shows in the future. A lot of these trade shows and expositions are tied into contracts in other cities and other convention centers, and so the process really is out 2 or 3 years to gain these shows. We've got a natural into the furniture, gift, and home decor trade areas and ancillary trade shows that are around the country. So that's that's something that naturally we will leverage. But there's all kinds of other opportunities, medical shows, technology shows, and things like that. And I'll make the point again that once this is constructed, the pavilions will be torn down, and they're just a means to an end. Basically, the pro forma financials are, I would say, moderately optimistic. The 70 shows, and shows could be 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, but our financial projections are based on 70 shows, 120 show days, and 260 days of use when you consider move in and move out. And that's kind of the pro forma for the returns. If we did not have the city partnership, it really wouldn't be financially doable for us. It would be a negative 4.2% IRR based on our pro forma financials. And the city's participation with the TIF allows us to get near a break even with it. We're still slightly negative. And the rationale for doing it even slightly negative is that this is strategically significant to our business. It creates a footprint for us to grow our own trade show business, but more importantly, to incubate more permanent tenants so we can expand the campus beyond the 5.5 million square feet. So I will stop there and turn it over to Brian Gordon with Applied Analysis, who has done the feasibility study for all of this, and I'll let Brian share that information with you.
Great, thank you. Brian Gordon, I'm a principal with Applied Analysis, a local-based economic and research firm. As Bob had indicated, they retained our firm almost a year ago to work on the feasibility of the project. We've gone through a number of iterations. I'll walk you through just some of the highlights of the work that we've done, just to give you some perspective and background. I'll try to keep it brief. We've got a handful of slides here, and then happy to answer any questions, of course. From a market standpoint, we looked at both supply and demand of the project in the downtown area. Just generally, we believe that there's an opportunity there over the long term in terms of what we've seen in Southern Nevada as a whole related to tourism trends, as well as in the convention segment. We also looked at the supply side of the equation, and I'll walk you through some of those details as well. In terms of his historical visitation, I don't know that I need to spend a whole lot here. We've got over 40 million people that come to Southern Nevada, and we've seen that expand historically at about an annual rate of about 1%. What it looks like in terms of the hotel business here in Southern Nevada, we've been on a fairly good run in terms of increases over the last 8 years or so. In terms of room rates, occupancies are pushing 90%. A lot of those demand indicators point towards positive activity. And then specifically revenue trends in the Strip as well as the downtown market are also positive, so we're seeing some demand in that regard. The convention business specifically, last year we had a record of about 6.6 million convention attendees here in Southern Nevada. We do expect that trend to continue, albeit at a more moderate pace. We're being a little bit conservative on this end. Historically, we've grown at about 3.3%. We're modeling at about 1.1% on a go-forward basis through 2030. We expect the share of visitors to Southern Nevada to increase slightly in the convention sector as opposed to the leisure traveler, and so we expect some positive demand there. If we look on the supply side, in total we've got about 11.5 million square feet of convention-related facilities here in Southern Nevada. You just heard the number in downtown, over 100,000 square feet, so we're looking at less than 1% of the overall inventory in the downtown market. There are a number of projects planned to come to market here in Southern Nevada. They are all located within the resort corridor, both on-strip facilities as well as some off-strip facilities. I've got them listed here, but there is a lot of inventory coming to the market. None of that is identified or targeted for the downtown market other than this particular project. Turning from the market perspective, we then looked at the financial side of the equation. There were a number of assumptions that are required in any type of ground-up financial modeling process. We used what was available in the public domain from a financial performance standpoint, as well as we took a look at everything that's taking place around the country at some of the larger facilities that are publicly owned. We looked at the largest facilities with 1 million square feet or more. You can see that the majority of them are publicly owned. Convention facilities that are 100% privately owned don't tend to make a whole lot of sense unless they're connected with other amenities and offerings. An integrated resort, for example, at Las Vegas Sands, you see as one of the only private convention facilities in the country of this magnitude. We did look at the financial performances for both the Las Vegas Convention Center as well as Cashman Center historically to get a baseline for how some of these facilities perform. We looked at total revenues on a year-by-year basis. We also compared those on a per square foot basis to create an apples-to-apples comparison, and you see what some of those trends have been historically for these properties to kind of put a bracket around what may be possible at this particular facility. We also looked at those rankings in terms of how they perform on a per square foot basis across the board. And again, the modeling that's been done by the team here segments that from a low to a high, at least from our standpoint. They've targeted certain numbers in terms of where they expect the facility to perform. All of these results, when we ran the analysis, suggested that 100% private convention facility just is impractical and it would not be feasible from a financial standpoint. One other area that the city staff had asked us to take a look at specifically were the economic benefits associated with the proposed development. I've got some summary statistics here in terms of what we're expecting from an economic impact standpoint. These are total economic impacts the project generating as it relates to the visitor spending of folks that would be coming to this facility, over $230 million of economic output. You're talking about over $66 million in salaries and wages, 1,600 total jobs. That includes direct, indirect, and induced. We also asked the team at World Market Center to provide some information on where their customers today are coming from, and about 42% of attendees at their events are lodging in the downtown market. A pretty impressive amount of folks that are actually staying in downtown, and presumably that spending is taking place in downtown. We use that assumption to make an allocation in terms of what the spend profile would look like within the downtown area, assuming a similar profile, and that spending took place in the downtown area, almost $100 million worth of visitor spending overall, some additional wages and salaries, and would support approximately 660 positions overall, including direct, indirect, and induced impacts. Importantly, we also believe there will be additional demand in terms of hotel room nights, which is probably important for the downtown hotel operators. Again, finding reasons to fill hotel rooms is pretty important, including in the downtown area. And how we compute some of this, we use data from the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority in terms of how much folks are spending when they come to Las Vegas, and specifically how much convention travelers are spending. We then made some adjustments for known values, as well as a slightly different spend profile in downtown versus the Las Vegas Strip. And you can see some of the broader averages, $875 estimated per visitor in terms of overall spending. We also looked at the total room nights, the share of the room nights that are potentially to the benefit of downtown hotel operators, and you have over 160,000 hotel room nights that may be demanded out of this facility. So again, probably fairly important for some of those hotel operators. Also have some of the gory details in terms of the numbers and the breakdown of the economic impacts, so you can see the distribution both from direct to total, as well as throughout Southern Nevada, the economic impacts, and then that pro rata share that theoretically would inure to the benefit of downtown. Those were the summary slides from our feasibility work that we've done. I'm happy to answer any questions or turn it over to Mr. Arndt.
Thank you. I think, I know I have some questions, but I think it's not so much data-driven as it is practical information, which is a timeline, realizing, and you have brought this through, Brian, just now to us all, everything that's right now in front of Southern Nevada for construction, which means our labor pool, carpenters, everybody, all the unions. So why is timing of any significance? And if you'd speak to that. The other thing was, and Mr. Marisic shared with me and probably other council as they have visited, your plans for acknowledging the employment for women, a diverse employment grouping. So I'd love you to address those if you would. I see Councilwoman Mayor Pro Tem has her finger ready to ask.
I just was, I feel that there's going to be a symbiotic relations at some point between this market center and the medical district. And I wondered how far you think that might go, and if you could give advice to us, not now, but maybe in the future. Because we already considered the transportation from downtown to the medical center, because it will be part of whatever advanced transportation system comes. And to me, having gone to a lot of conventions in the past, if you are nearby something, for example, if you have some new material that you have or new equipment, you could then, be showing it maybe someplace within the medical center, and then at the same time be mentioning it at the convention. And I just wondered what you felt that impact would do to us.
And adding one more thing to this, I know that Mr. Marisic, you have been involved so long with the World Market Center here and with the new ownership of Blackstone, the conversation you've had with our other casino or our hotel properties downtown, how it would affect them, what they're planning to build, etc. So, please.
Okay, let me test my memory on all of that. First of all, I'll go back to Councilman Tarkanian's question. There should be great symbiosis with the medical district. The medical trade show industry is a robust part of the trade show ecosphere, if you will. We don't know a lot about it yet, but as we put our team together, that definitely will be a hunting ground for future shows. Makes a lot of sense. It's growing. It's the largest, I think, fastest growing part of our economy is healthcare.
Right.
So we will keep you informed on those efforts. I suspect it, it'll be a year or two before we, harvest any opportunities in that area. But I think we've got a lot to talk about and a lot to sell in that regard. Madam Mayor, as to your questions.
Starting with the timing, how important is timing to
It's
what
critical.
you're doing because of the stadium, because of the LVCVA, and all the hotels expanding?
So the construction management experts we have said, put the floor to the gas pedal to the floor. The recent developments with steel tariffs, that's likely to impact the price of steel dramatically. So we would like to get on with this as quickly as possible. We would pre-order the steel or any of these long lead construction items. A project typically of this scale and scope would take 18 months to design, permit, and get all of that done, and another 18 months to construct. We are going to try and compress that and actually start construction before we're completely designed. And our goal, and unless you have an aggressive goal, you'll never attain it. But our goal would be to have this done for July of 2020. If there's any slippage, it could slip 6 months, it could slip a year. But we're starting off with that bias. And the city has reached out and said any issues with permitting, that they'll expedite the process and help us do this. But we've already committed funding of about $3 million for the design process, and this year we'll spend about $9 million on the design and the start of the construction process. And so the sooner we can get at it, the better. No one has indicated that time is our friend. The longer this thing takes, the more it could be delayed and the more it could cost. So that's our bias.
Thank you. And as far as your employment, obviously with the unions and the employment, as that they're spread across southern Nevada too, getting them to work on this particular project. But talk a little bit about the diversity of your plans for who you're employing.
Okay, well, we as you can see from the term sheet, we've agreed to the prevailing wage element of this. And what is it's the employment plan, the city's employment plan, to reach out to in ward and in the development areas and try to employ as much in that area. We've talked with our construction manager. They understand. I'm not telling you who our construction manager is because literally we probably will sign the agreement with them today. They've been working with us for 3 weeks, but they're fully aware of our intention to go forward with all of the requirements that are on the term sheet, which should be greatly beneficial to the ward.
Okay, so Mr. Art, you'll address that about the employment, if you would.
Absolutely, and if I could have Jeff in the back maybe cue up my presentation, I'll hit that point and just kind of wrap up why we're taking this action today. I think Bob did a nice job of explaining the urgency that construction costs are rising because of what's happening in the regional economy. I'm sorry, Mayor, for the record, Bill Arndt, Economic and Urban Development. So construction costs are rising, but also there are new projects coming online, and there's going to be a competition for labor, and that's going to drive costs. So there's some built-in incentives, and as our partner has indicated, they've already been spending money at risk, both with the design as well as with all the feasibility work from applied analysis. So they're already invested without any commitment from the city. So we wanted to bring forward this project in 2 steps. This step is a term sheet for considering the project where we outline the business terms, and that's what I'm explaining to you today. And in doing this, as Bob indicated, this is a unique opportunity for the city. If you think about the 3 L's of real estate, location, location, location. I don't know that we could find a better location that helps downtown and greater downtown and the neighborhood surrounding downtown than this location, with being across the street from Symphony Park, immediately adjacent to the medical district, as Mayor Pro Tem indicated, and then also within walking distance of the hotel corridor. And that's the point of this aerial here in introducing staff's comments for the item. It's within walking distance of our hotel core. And Cashman has been a great facility. We're appreciative to the LVCVA for running that facility for events and consumer shows. But location matters and convenience matters when you're trying to recruit these shows. And so we think this is a really unique opportunity for the city. So as both Bob and Brian Gordon indicated, there is a need for this project. We're underserved in the market, visitation's growing, and we think we want to capture this opportunity. Cashman is a facility that was built over 30 years ago, and so a modern convention facility has different requirements, and so this will enable us to do it, meet all the current needs of the facility. The location is ideal. It's adjacent to the I-15 resort corridor and has great visibility from the freeway. The scope would serve two roles. It really not only meets the needs of their core business with the home furnishings and gift industry, but as I indicated, it's a unique opportunity for the city of Las Vegas, really our entire community, to get more visitation into our community, more business visitation. That's going to drive jobs. That's going to drive new opportunity, not just for downtown, but for the entire city. And then finally, I wanted to touch on why we're doing it this way as far as the financial commitment and how we're doing that. And it's a tool called tax increment financing. So again, this shows the proximity to the Symphony Park and why the location matters. And we think this is going to have spillover development from Symphony Park. But with the tax increment financing, what we're doing is we're going to be using future taxes paid by World Market Center itself. So they're currently paying into the redevelopment agency about $1 million annually that we're getting to keep, and then we're rebating about another $1 million. We rebate 41% of the taxes coming in. Actually, the total taxes coming into the redevelopment agency is about $2.25. We're rebating almost $1 million today, and that was done to get the existing campus built up and running. And so what we're proposing to do is to increase that amount and extend the life of that investment. And the significance of this is that it doesn't hurt other jurisdictions. We're just taking new taxes from the new development and from the development that World Market Center has already built, and we're reinvesting that back into the property. So it doesn't take money from the city's general fund, which is for other needs. And if we increase the pie, if we increase the value of all the properties downtown, which is what this slide is intended to show, then the entire tax base for downtown goes up, and when redevelopment sunsets in just over 25 years, all those new taxes benefits all the tax jurisdictions throughout the state. So it's really investing in downtown to improve downtown and lift up the entire tax base, which really helps everyone. How is this going to work? As Bob indicated, they're going to front the capital. So they have to, they as a company have to front all the capital for not only the design, but for the construction, start to finish. They're also contributing the land for the project, and that value of that contribution, when you factor in the land, is almost $100 million. They have to front all of that. What they're asking of the city and its redevelopment agency is to reimburse them through future taxes paid at a present value of $30 million. So what that would look like in practical terms, we've been rebating to them today about $1 million a year. That would increase initially to between $2 and $2.5 million a year, going from 41% to 82%. Essentially, we double that payment. And if taxes increase over time, we're projecting that they would, that payment would increase so that in present value terms, or in today's dollars, it would be the effect of giving them $30 million. There's some important points with this, and in negotiating this, we wanted to protect the city and its redevelopment agency and its taxpayers. Well, what happens if the taxes don't come in? If the taxes do not come in, we are capped at rebating 82% of the taxes back. So in the event of something unforeseeable, like another double-dip recession or something that impacts the value of the project, the city and its redevelopment agency is not on the hook for writing a check. We're only on the hook for writing a check in the amount equal to the 82% of the taxes directly from the property. And so we would make that payment each year for a period running through the life of the redevelopment agency through 2046. There's also what I call some upside protection. And what I mean by that is, and this is probably the more likely scenario, we think this project is going to be a home run. It's going to be wonderful for downtown and the community. And we think property values in downtown are going to go up. We believe that all our existing hotels are going to continue to reinvest in themselves, add new rooms, add new casino space and other space. We believe that new hotels are going to be built, and we have a feasibility agreement with a developer for a new hotel in Symphony Park. If taxes increase and we're able to pay off that $30 million note back to them faster, then we would pay it off faster, and instead of paying taxes back through 2046, it would end earlier. So our contribution is capped at a present value amount of $30 million. And we're going to come back to you in a formal agreement, an owner participation agreement, where the entire city council will have a chance to review that agreement and approve it. And so there's really upside and downside protection. We would never pay out more than $30 million in present value terms, and we would never pay out more than 82% of taxes generated by the project itself. So this is really taking a self-sufficiency approach. The taxes generated specifically from the project are supporting the project. This is really important to downtown, but also our entire community. As Brian indicated, over 160,000 room nights.
Your Honor,
The
if I
total
may
employment,
interrupt Bill.
I'm sorry, Councilman.
Because Bill's repeating himself now at this point because he's a hell of a salesman. May I have the floor for a second?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your
please.
Honor. And, Mayor Pro Tem, did I step on a response to your question?
No, that's all.
Okay, thank you. I just felt like the elephant in the room has all of a sudden become the Councilman-elect's request to delay this, but it was not a sharp request in terms of the kind of reasons for delay, but rather to get him familiar. Unfortunately for me, as a person who greatly respects our soon-to-be colleague, we have spent, well over a year on this. What you're saying today is repetitive of what I've heard of. So the fact is that I'm of the opinion that time is of the essence. And so, you know, my political instincts tell me I should give my future colleague this pass and invite him in to deliberate on it. But the thing is that we have deliberated a great deal on this. You know, I just, I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings here, but I don't want it to be seen as a put down or shut down, but rather that time is moving awfully fast on this. In fact, we've delayed this quite a bit to get to this point. So, you know, with all kindness at heart, I'm going to disregard the request of the incoming member of the council and move for approval of this project today in redevelopment.
There's a motion. Please vote. And please post.
Put me as an aye. I would like,
We need somebody up here. She's got some
I
technical.
have a problem with my,
Unanimous. We are so excited, I can't tell you. This is the best news we've had in 7 years. I'm so excited, aside from the medical district going forward. But this is, we can't wait, and the faster we can move this so we can capture the better prices, capture the jobs for everybody, wonderful. So we will see you back at the rest of the council meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. We sincerely
Thanks.
appreciate it. Your ROI is going to be terrific.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item number 5, citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the redevelopment agency. No subject may be acted upon by the redevelopment agency unless that subject is on the agenda scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come to the podium, give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time on any single speaker is allowed, will be limited. Anyone wishing to speak under this portion of the agenda? I will close that, and the hearing none. The redevelopment agency is adjourned, and we will go right in. We'll have to switch over. We have to take 5 minutes for technology, but we will be back in 5 minutes.